We're in the middle of the university campus at the University of Nottingham, and we're stood here next to a pair of beautiful Scots pines. Scots pine is a bit of a misnomer for a tree that is by no means restricted to Scotland. It's present all the way across northern Russia, up to the Urals and beyond. So there's nothing intrinsically Scottish about it. Although in the British Isles, Scotland's really the only place where it belongs. It shouldn't be growing down here. Now, after the last ice age, when the glaciers began to retreat northwards, Scots pine was one of the first tree species that colonised the British Isles and started to sweep up, tracking the ice as it receded. But then, after about 4,000 years ago, there was a pronounced period of quite rapid warming. And by probably 3,000 years ago, there was no more Scots pine left in England. It had naturally moved northwards and was only left in Scotland. The fact that it's back here now is largely because it's been planted here. In Scotland, there are many national myths associated with Scots pine, in the same way as the English get very attached to the mythical oak woods that supposedly stretched across the whole of England. The Scots have the similar idea that there were pine woods that stretched across the whole of Scotland, and particularly that it was the English who came and cut them down and robbed them of their national heritage. And it is certainly true that there were Caledonian pine woods of quite large extent, and that these were felled mostly to produce charcoal for smelting in iron furnaces in southern Scotland, but also in the Napoleonic Wars they were stripped out. And then once the English colonised Scotland and started using the estates for rearing deer, the trees didn't regenerate and they never quite came back properly. So there is a certain truth in it that they used to have a much more extensive set of pine woods, and that, well, it's the English fault as always. A couple of interesting medicinal aspects to Scots pine. If you take the resin, and it actually has some quite nice antibacterial properties. So you're supposed to be able to make an infusion out of it or chew it if you've got a throat infection. I've no idea whether it works or not, but...
What does that taste like?
It's like pine flavoured chewing gum. It's perfectly fine.
You sure it's not just some person's old piece of chewing gum?
Oh no, it's definitely out of the tree. I'm not going to finish it.